Okay, so maybe we can start our webinar today. Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar. Today we are honored to have our guest speaker, Mr. Bjorn from Germany, to give us a speech about Carrotmob the world, how you can save the climate with fun. So is it clear to everyone that you can, I want to make sure that you can hear me clearly. If you can just please reply me, turn on your microphone. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So first, let me give you a brief introduction on the organization Mr. Bjorn comes from, Young Friends of the Earth Berlin. So Young Friends of the Earth Berlin is a youth organization of Friends of the Earth, which is particularly addressing people under 27 years old, members independently plan campaign, projects, and actions and decide which issues you want to focus on. Emphasis is mostly given to climate change, mobility, city development, and consumptions. And members may enhance their skill in workshop and training supported by the staff of Young Friends of the Earth Berlin office. Young Friends of the Earth Berlin believe in a peer-to-peer concept and grassroots structure in which young people take responsibilities themselves from their own opinion and inform young people about environmental problems and motivate them to act. In doing so, they are convinced they will help young people take their future into their own hands. And Mr. Beyond is working for Young Friends of the Earth Berlin as youth coordinator and director. Together with the volunteers, he developed the strategies, managed the working group of youth Friend of the Earth Berlin, organized seminars and campaign, and is responsible for the international youth exchange, like activity with Egypt. And main issues of his work are climate change, mobility, as well as volunteer management and campaigning. He studied biology and started to work for a climate campaign with a school student at New Friends of the Earth, Soy Karstad. And after that, he worked for the National Office of Young Friends of the Earth as volunteer manager and coordinating different activities on climate change and fair trade issues. So right now, let us welcome Ms. Beyond to give us speech about Flashmob and Carrotmob. So, Mr. Beyond.
Yeah.
Hi.
I hope everyone can hear me as well.
Yeah.
Okay, can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, great. So welcome everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I think you're all spread worldwide. So it's an honor to be here. I think you already said a lot about me and my organization. I will shortly present it. Then, as you said, I want to introduce an action we are doing, which is called Carrotmob, because I wondered, what can I talk about? What can I present young people worldwide, which might be of use for you? And I like this action, so I hope it will help you develop some ideas. So yes, my name is Björn. I'm from Germany. I'm living in Berlin, working for Bundjugend Berlin, which is the German organization Young Friends of the Earth. That's the wrong direction. Wait a second. Presentation should start from the beginning. So let's try again. As a youth organization, we work with young adults up to the age of 27. As an environmental organization, we mainly focus on environmental topics, But we also cover some social justice issues, anti-racism, and so on. We consider ourselves to be a grassroots organization, so the power in my organization is in the hands of the young people. They decide what we do, what we won't do, and they can tell me as staff what I have to do. Although we are not an organization ourselves, we are self-dependent. So we have our own board, we have our own budget, office, and staff. And as I said, it's youth-driven, so all decisions are made by young people. We focus our work on 4 areas. The first one is actions. So we do demonstrations, actions, and public or political campaigns, like going on the street and demonstrating for healthy agriculture and organic agriculture. The second area of our work is to gain knowledge. We want to multiply our knowledge, so we organize a lot of seminars, a lot of workshops, as well on subject issues like agriculture or degrowth, but also on skills like rhetorical or how to moderate events. And we have a regular event with panel discussions where we invite experts to discuss with them. Then we want to, we don't want to keep our knowledge, we want to give it away. We want to multiply it, so we share it. So we have a team which goes into schools and do workshops there, or they do city tours. To also educate younger people. And as a fourth area, you already mentioned it, we organize a lot of international exchanges where young people from Germany meet with young people, in this case from Egypt, for 2 weeks in Berlin and 2 weeks in Cairo, to work, for example, this year on waste management issues. Bundjugend Berlin is structured into different working groups which are led by young people themselves. So our 4 main working groups is the climate team, which works on climate issues, usually in Berlin, like how to transform Berlin into a climate-friendly city. We have a working group on degrowth. They work on the economy and how an economy could look like without constant growth. The third group is our biking and mobility group. They do a lot of different actions to improve the cycling situation in Berlin. And the fourth group is our educating group, which goes into schools and does workshops there. We have a lot of more groups, like a group which wants to make music festivals greener, a group which works with young refugees. We have people focusing on writing for a newspaper, and so on and so on. But what I would like to talk about and focus on is Carrotmob. And I would start with the flash mob. Hopefully you heard about flash mobs already. Flash mob is a concept like 10, 15 years ago with the starting of social media. People had the idea to coordinate spontaneous meetings. For example, we meet at 5 o'clock in this shopping center, and at the bell ring, we all put on a red nose and behave like clowns. So this is a fun action. The people do just in the leisure time. They usually don't have a deeper meaning. It's just fun and nonsense. But from this idea, a new concept developed, which is called a smart mob. A smart mob is the same like a flash mob. Also there, young people get together, do something together, although it's not expected, but they do it because they have a goal. They want to spread a message. One example could be a die-in against nuclear power. We did that in Germany. Like at 12 o'clock, everyone falls down to the ground, plays dead for 2 minutes. Some people standing there with banners to spread the message. And after 2 minutes, everyone disappears. And the goal is to inform the people about the danger of nuclear power. From these smart mobs, the Carrotmob developed. This is a more coordinated form of flash mob, and as you can see, the idea is to give people, give companies an incentive for climate-friendly behavior. So I will focus on this. I will tell you what a Carrotmob is in general. I want to introduce how to organize a Carrotmob and show you how it looks like when we do it in Berlin and what it's good for. So what is a Carrotmob? Here you can see the different posters we had for different Carrotmobs. A Carrotmob, I found two nice definitions, is an event where people support an environmentally friendly store by gathering en masse to purchase the store's products. So here, a lot of people, one store, make it more environmental friendly. Another definition could be a Carrotmob is a reverse boycott by a group of people who collectively drive up sales at a pre-selected business while the business agrees to make sustainable improvements to its operations. So what is it? A Carrotmob is an incentive for climate protection. The theory is that a shop might want to change its behavior toward more climate friendly if a lot of people agree to go shopping there. So Carrotmob is linking climate protection with economic advantages. It starts a competition between different shops for the best offer. And the shops, they agree to use a fixed percentage of their daily turnover during the Carrotmob for energy efficiency measures. For example, we asked the first shop and it says, okay, if you organize the Carrotmob in my shop, then I will invest 20% of my turnover into energy efficiency measures. The second shop offers 25%, the third 30%, and so on and so on. And in the end, you pick the shop which offers the most percentage of its daily turnovers to reinvest in his shop into energy efficiency measures. The shops get professional energy consulting by us organizers, and of course, the advertisement to go shopping there on one specific day. We organize a colorful program with music, DJs, and so on and so on. And in the end, it's important to accompany the implementation of these measures. This is Leon, once one of our active people, and he said that instead of boycotting a shop, he likes to start a dialogue and to change something together. And this is what he likes about the Carrotmob. I will try to start a little video. I hope it's working. Which explains the Carrotmob a little bit. I hope you can also hear the sound.
There's no sound right now, but we do see the video, and it's really cute.
Again?
I don't hear any sound with the video.
Ah, okay. It's only music, so it's fine. So as you can see, it's a worldwide movement which was going on in a lot of countries already. As far as I know, it never actually happened in China, so you could be the first one. So let's have a look on how you would organize a Carrotmob, how we do it in Germany. The goal is clear. We want to have one shop which is most ambitious to change its behavior towards energy efficiency. So in the first step, you need a team, you need motivation, and usually a team of 2 or 3 people is enough. So you don't need a big, huge group. You have to decide what your issue is. Most of the Carrotmobs are done for climate change, for energy efficiency, but it could also be to raise money to have a bike stand in front of the shop. The next point is, what kind of business do you want to Carrotmob? You can do it in a supermarket, or we did it in an ice cream shop, in a restaurant, in a flower shop, and so on and so on. So maybe you want to target one specific sector. Then you should have a look at the city you're in and what kind of people live there, what could be your target group, who could be interested in attending such an event. And of course, you should think about the date. Then you have to set up the channels you want to communicate over. You need social media channels so you can approach people to go shopping there on one day, and also to attract the shops. So you need a good strategy, media strategy, to let the people know that there is something big going to happen. Then you approach the shops. You do a research, what shops do we have, which are suitable for this action, and then you usually get into first contact. It sometimes can be depressing because you have to explain what a Carrotmob is and explain the advantages for the shop. So you often need follow-up, address the shops 2 or 3 times, and to start the bidding process. In the first round, they give an offer, and it's always good to give them the chance to raise their ambition. For example, say that another shop offered 40%, so they add something and offer 50% in the end. And then, of course, you select the winner, the shop you want to do it with. Then you need to organize the day itself. You should do it together with a partner. You should think about what is needed, what attracts the people. Do we need music? Do we need something to eat? Do we need some games? And so on and so on, and organize it. One core thing is the energy evaluation. You want to give the shop a good tip where he can use the money, where he can spend the money he earns during that day. So you do an energy evaluation. You take a look at the technical supplies, at the infrastructure, at the windows, the heating system, the lighting system, and calculate how much CO2 the shop could save if he invests into, for example, new lighting system. And in the next step, you have to do advertisement to get the people going on the day. Then on the big day, you do the Carrotmob, hopefully have fun with it, and also use this day. You have a lot of people coming there. They are interested in energy issues, so you want to approach people, inspire them to become change makers as well in their private life. You could start media work, invite television and newspapers, and try to maintain the momentum to go on after the Carrotmob. For example, by following up with the shop, you have to see if the measures you agreed on are implemented. You can give him a certificate which he can hang up in the store to show everyone that he participated in the Carrotmob. So a lot of theory, but how does it look in practice? Here you can see that we did quite a lot of Carrotmobs in Berlin, in different shops. We have been to a restaurant, in a flower shop, in a second-hand clothes shop, an ice shop, book shop, bike store, because we wanted to try different sectors to address different people. The most important thing is the advertisement, because a Carrotmob can only be successful if a lot of people go there and do their daily shopping. So we used flyers, of course, in the shape of a carrot. We went to the market, passed on the flyers. We had the poster, we had social media, and to rally the people. On the day itself, we tried to be as colorful as possible. So we had live music in front of the shop. We had tombola. During the bike shop, we had a self-repair station where the people could repair their bikes. And we also had like self-made carrot cupcakes, which we gave away for a donation to increase the turnover of the day. So if everything works right, the people storm into the shop, buy hopefully what they use anyway, and raise the profit of the shop. But what it is good for? What can you achieve with it? As you can see here, on the one hand, you manage to get a lot of people into the shop. On the top picture, we counted the people, and usually there are more than double as many people shopping in this place than on a usual day. Then the shop gets an evaluation. You see a lot of things that are not good and which the shop can improve very, very easily. On the left, for example, this is a fridge cooling system, which is totally dusted. There he can save energy just by cleaning without spending money. But sometimes he has to do more, like buying a new fridge or buying new lighting system. And you can see that also the press turns up to cover it, especially when the concept is new to a city. The media usually is very interested. So what did we achieve with these Carrotmobs? Our Carrotmob in the flower shop we did on Valentine's Day, because a lot of people buy flowers for Valentine's Day. The shop offered 56% of his turnover for the climate, and we raised in the end 773 euros. With this money, he could exchange one small and a middle fridge for one bigger fridge, which is energy efficient. He switched to a green energy supplier. He improved the lighting system, and after the Carrotmob, he agreed to have more fair trade and regional flowers on sale. So the 770 euros we used for the fridge, for a motion sensor, for the ceiling lights, for new neon lights, and anti-standby sockets, totaling to 736 euros. And the rest of the money he could use to switch to a green energy supplier, which was at that point a little bit more expensive than a normal energy supplier, and the money was enough to switch to a green energy supplier for 3 years. The Carrotmob in the ice cream shop, we had 190 customers, and they even offered 100% of the turnover for the climate. In the end, it was 785 euros. And we got a bank sponsoring the professional energy counseling. So it was in-depth counseling. And we found out that the money could be best spent for a new airflow system, for new lights, and also switching to green energy supplier. For the last of these 3 Carrotmobs I want to present, it was in a bookshop before Christmas. We had 160 customers, and they offered 70% of the turnover, which was more than 1,000 euros. And with that, basically, we could isolate the windows and the doors and also install more efficient lighting system. So what I wanted to try to show you is that a Carrotmob is a fun action. It can be organized within like 3 months with not too many people, and it has a real effect on the climate, because after the Carrotmob, the shop saves energy and therefore CO2, not only in this year, but in the whole future. And you can inspire a lot of people to participate, to engage, and also rethink their own behavior when it comes to energy consumption. I hope that we maybe can have a small discussion. What do you think about Carrotmob, if you understand or if you have questions?
Okay, so everyone right now, we may consider the potential use of Carrotmob and how we can implement it in our own community. So anyone who have any thoughts, just feel free to share.
The greener festivals, yes, that's one of our working group. You all know music festivals. There are music festivals going on like 1,000 people, 10,000 people, or even 100,000 people. And we had the impression that the people go there, they want to celebrate, and they don't really care about the environment. So in the end of the festival, you see tons, hundreds of tons of waste lying around. The light and the sound system need a lot of energy. You have usually the food that people bring in is not very organic. Usually it's a lot of meat and stuff like that. And they go by car instead of public transport. So what we wanted to do is to go to festivals, have funny actions on the spot, talk to people and convince them to go greener. And at the same time, evaluating the festival and making suggestions what they could do next year to improve the festival. For example, we suggested to implement waste separation and recycling stations. We did a food sharing festival on the festival itself. So on the last day of the festival, we asked the people to bring their leftover food, and we prepared a big barbecue out of it, and everybody could join and eat the stuff that was left over, for example.
I noticed there is another question about how do you approach the shop? Like how does the shop agree to cooperate with you, with your group?
Yeah, usually we just go to the shop, we have a flyer explaining what a Carrotmob is, what the advantages of the shop is, and try to get in touch with the shop owner. Because sometimes the people working in the shop don't really have the competence to agree. We explain the concept, try if the shop owner reacts to it, if he's open. Most of them are. At the moment they hear that they can increase their profit on that day, they usually are interested. So it's hard work. You have to walk around, ask a lot of shops, and in the end, you have like 3, 4, or 5 shops making an offer. The next step is to see how good is the offer, and also how interested is the shop. Are they willing to help, for example, with the advertisement? and with the organization of a program. And in the end, we make a contract where the shop agrees that we can do the Carrotmob there. He agrees to give us his invoices for heating and electricity bills because we need that for the consulting. And we therefore agree to organize the Carrotmob and bring as many people into the shop as possible. The advantages for the shop owner. On the one hand, of course, it's advertisement for the shop. He gets additional customers which usually wouldn't go to this shop to do their shopping. So he widens his target audience. He increases his turnover during the day. He makes more profit. The feedback we got from the store owners are there are double as many people or double as he doubled his turnover during that day, and by improving his technical staff, he can save energy and by that also save costs in future because less energy means less running costs in the shop. Funding. Usually a Carrotmob is quite cheap to organize because you don't need a lot of stuff. You need flyers and posters. For that we asked for funding from a green energy supplier. They got their logo on the poster and in return they paid for the posters, stickers and flyers. Or you can also agree with the shop that the shop pays for part of the advertisement. The rest of the stuff you do usually is for free. You can ask friends to do the music. The bands usually play for free if you ask them because they like this kind of action. And since most of the work is done by volunteers, the costs are very low, so you don't need a big funding.
And there's another question about have you ever cooperated with some factory? And I think there is another question. It's like still asking whether it is only limited to the shop.
We didn't try to cooperate with factories because usually it's hard. The idea is that a lot of people do the influence, and usually they don't go shopping in the factory itself. So you have more power if you can show the shop that a lot of people want the shop to be more climate friendly than trying to negotiate between factory and shops. We tried to do it with different shops, with different type of shops. And my dream would be to do something like a super Carrotmob in like a franchise system and to mob all, let's say, McDonald's shops in one town on one day and raise like €1 million. But I think that's a dream for now.
It may be realized sometimes, I think. And there's another question asking about are the Carrotmob only one-day events, or do the organizers try to return toward the store and sustain their mob?
No, usually it's a one-day event. Of course, the shop can use the opportunity to approach the people and convince them to go shopping there more often. But no, that would be too much to organize it for a whole week. Then, yeah, you don't have to limit it to shops. We had a different kinds. You can also go to the cafeteria in university, for example, and do it there. Important is, or the main principle behind the Carrotmob is to raise money. So it's hard to do it in a place which is already working without money or on a different level. You could adopt it, but I think it's easier to stick to a lot of people spend money in one place. The advertisement, yes. I mean, there you have to be creative. And I think everyone has his or her own ideas. Of course, social media channels are very important. So since we have not only done one Carrotmob, but several, we had our own Facebook page for Carrotmob Berlin, where the people who took part in the last Carrotmob get information about the next one. Then, of course, Twitter in China, it would be WeChat to spread the information. You usually get help by former organizers. You can put it on the Carrotmob website and ask them to advertise it. And the rest, it depends very much on the kind of shop you do. We usually put up posters in the surrounding area of the shop because we don't want the people to drive through the whole city to go shopping there, because that would be not in the best interest of the climate. So we want to have it a regional thing. So posters and flyers are a good idea. It's always nice. On the pictures you maybe saw that we have like carrot costumes. So we dressed as carrots, went to the market and passed out flyers. We used chalk to write on the street during the day and do arrows to point into the direction of the Carrotmob and attract the people, making colorful, making the streets colorful, grab the attention of the people. We play music to grab their attention, so everything works. You just have to be creative.
And there's another participant asking about your experience, like how was it to sell this idea to the shop owners and whether most of them were willing to work with you or not?
To be honest, this is hard work. This is probably the hardest part of organizing a Carrotmob, to approach the shop owners. You have to be brave to just go in, ask for the owner, tell him. And to be frank, the first shops probably are not successful. But if you talk to the fifth shop owner, you learn. With every talk you learn, and you get a feeling for what are the arguments the shop owner wants to hear, and on what arguments do they react on. So the 6, 7, and 8 shop, they are much more interested. And I would say we usually approach like 20 shops, and in the end we get offers from 3, 4, maybe 5 shops. So the percentage is quite bad. We already had Carrotmobs where, like, our 3 volunteers, they were running around addressing shops for a whole week and didn't get a single offer. And in the end, we did another research on the internet. We found 2 more shops which seemed to be open to green ideas. And we just called them by telephone, and they agreed right away. So sometimes it's just pure luck to find the right shop.
Yeah, we can do it or do it and make the idea more published and known for the public.
Yeah, and I can also share with you, I have a little handbook of how to Carrotmob,
Wow.
where you can find some ideas. I can send it to CYCAN to spread it with you who is interested. And you will find, if you look in the internet, you will find a lot of examples, a lot of very good websites telling about Carrotmob and how they did it. And I think it can be very inspiring. And it's different from each time, depending on who is doing the Carrotmob. For example, we had an organizing team. They were really good with the cameras, so they made little promotion videos and stuff like that. And the concept in Germany, it was so successful that it started a whole new idea of transferring the Carrotmob into music clubs. So that we call Club Mob, and there we go into a disco and Carrotmob the disco, for example. We go celebrate there, drink, and in the end, the shop uses the money to improve the energy efficiency of their lighting and cooling systems. So you can play with this idea, see where it fits, and use it depending on where you are and what you think should be promoted. For us, the basic principle was not to take a good shop and make it better, but we didn't care about the shop, so it could be the worst shop, and still we Carrotmobbed it to make it better.
Yeah, that's the point. And is there anyone have other questions or discussion about it? So everyone who have questions, you can feel free to speak out. And
well, just I just want to say how the profit is made in the
How the profit is made?
yeah.
Well, for example, in a normal supermarket, a lot of people go there to do their shopping, and maybe the supermarket has a turnover of €1,000 a day. So we asked the people, hey, you need to do, you need to buy your fruits and your bread and stuff like that. Don't do it in supermarket A, but go to supermarket B, and let's go all together on this day. So in the end, more people go shopping there. They do their daily shopping in one particular store and raise the profit by that.
So it's really efficient, or just not very popular among those shop owners.
Again?
Is it a very efficient way to convince those shop owners to do this project?
Yeah, actually, after we did our Carrotmob in an ice shop, I read an article in a franchise magazine for ice shops. So it was the mother company, and they spread the message, and they told their franchise shop, hey, people, this Carrotmob is a great idea, even though we couldn't do it in our shop because they didn't offer enough. Pay attention to these kind of things. And of course, usually a shop could also organize its own Carrotmob but usually they don't, because they don't know about it. And I mean, it is work, so it's better if you have a group of volunteers doing it than the shop itself. Also because like that you have like control that the shop really invests its money. So the people can trust that the money they spend really goes into climate protection.
That's great. Yeah.
How long have you been making these events? In Berlin, we had 11 Carrotmobs so far. So I think the first one was in, good question, like 10 years ago, I would say. Maybe longer, since we do not more than one Carrotmob a year. It's probably 12 or 13 years.
Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, and it's still fun. Although I have to admit, after 13 Carrotmobs, at least the media is not that interested anymore. So it's harder to get. We only had television for our Carrotmobs for the first two. Afterwards, they didn't really care that much about it anymore because it wasn't a new approach.
Yeah. So what are the main requirements we should have to start our Carrotmob? I think it's a very good question about it.
Yeah, I think you need a team. You need 2 or 3 people. I would say don't do it with more than 5 or 6 people, because then the coordination takes too much time, and the tasks can be well done by a handful of people. And you have to have a good idea. You should. It's good if the people live nearby in one city, because it's hard to organize a Carrotmob in Beijing if you live in Shanghai, because you don't know the shops and stuff like that. So you should try to find friends and people around you who share the idea, the passion for climate protection. And then start small. Even a small shop can turn out to have a big profit, and in the end, it's better to have a small shop which is crowded with people than having a huge supermarket where you don't really see that a lot of people go shopping there at one time. Probably for a group, the hardest thing to organize is a climate expert who can do the counseling. We have the luck that in our adult organization there is a energy expert who can do this, and he does it for free for us. But I think if you ask a couple of experts, it should be possible to find one who does it for free. Or you could also ask like different foundations for a little bit of funding for this idea, to pay a counselor to do the energy counseling of the shop.
Yeah, so how long did it take to normalize the process, such as like the store started to know what you were talking about when you suggest the Carrotmob?
Usually, from the first time we address the shops to the decision which shop we take, it's like 2 weeks. Maybe 4 weeks if we want to address a lot of shops, but most shops can decide right away if they understood what you want to do, and what is in for the shop. They can decide right away if they want to do it or not.
Yeah, so here is another interesting question. Can you share us the most interesting and meaningful Carrotmob activity you have?
I very much liked our Carrotmob we did in a second-hand store. It was very hard to find a shop owner who was willing to do that. But in the end, we found a shop which was great. He was cooperating with an initiative for homeless people. So he bought his stuff from organizations who work with homeless people and provide also clothing for them. So he was very open, and actually our volunteers, they had the idea of not only doing a Carrotmob, but they started to also have a free market outside of the shop. So they asked people to come and buy secondhand clothes, and at the same time to bring their clothes and give away for free on the street. And I was like, guys, this will never work. If you put up clothes for free on the street, who will go into the shop and buy the stuff? But in the end, we had a lot of fancy clothes outside the shop, which the people could take for free. But still, the people went inside and bought something because they liked the idea.
Yeah, that's a very meaningful process to do something like this. Okay, so is there any other question, everyone? Okay, so maybe thanks for Mr. Bjorn's sharing. I think it is really very impressive and give us a lot of inspiration about whether we can start it from ourselves and our life to such mode of thinking. And yeah, so here may be the end of today's webinar. And thanks Mr. Bjorn again for the presentation today, and thanks everyone's participation. And we will give everyone the materials later here. Okay.
Yeah,
So
thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I wish you lots of fun with your webinars. Sounds like an interesting project. And if you have questions, feel free to write me an email. Doesn't have to be the end. If you have questions, just approach me.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.